Hi guys, my name is Jnic and welcome to the second video of the author time tutorial series. Let's go, woo! Okay, as I've said, I'm Jnic. I stream on Twitch a lot. I stream Trackmania on Twitch. Link is in the description. And I'm streaming a lot of matchmaking in this game. I'm actually top 50 world. And for those of you who don't know, the matchmaking games are being played on these campaign tracks, which means that I've gotten really used to playing these campaign tracks, and I've gotten pretty good at them. And I'm gonna use that knowledge to help you guys get those sweet, sweet author times, right? Let's go. I do want to stress that these videos are not meant for you to use to get world record times, as you can't with these tactics, but they're meant for you to be able to get the author times, and they're gonna be more than enough. The replays that we're gonna analyze in this video are all driven by me, and they're all like either 1 or 2, maybe even 3 seconds faster than the author time. So you have a lot of wiggle room to work with when you watch my replays right here, right? But if you guys want videos with explanations on how to get like top 100 world times on different tracks, I can do that. They're gonna go way more in depth on the tricks that you can do on the tracks, and they're gonna be really hard to replicate if you aren't used to playing very fast. But I can make the videos if that's what you want to do. You're just gonna have to let me know in the video description, not in the video description, in the comments below. And yeah, I'll do that for you guys. With that being said, let's head into the video. Let's take a look at map 6 and analyze this ghost. This is my ghost and it has a time of 28.5, which is a couple of seconds faster than the author time of 30.8. So you have a bit of wiggle room to work with when you're trying out this map, comparing yourself to this ghost. Now let's just look at this ghost at half speed. The first thing you want to do is you want to drive to the right immediately. This is gonna increase your speed in the beginning. You want to go close to all the corners. This counts for all of the corners throughout the map. And here on this jump, let's just look at that again. You want to make sure you get as little airtime as possible. The less airtime you get, the more time your car has to accelerate on the ground, yada yada. We've been through this a lot of times. Now, at this turn up here, I do initiate a drift, and you want to go as close to the left wall as possible. I don't go as close as I'm able to, and thus my car goes pretty far out on this turn, but that's fine. You have more than enough room to work with. Now, here I go to the left side, the very left side of the road. I do this to initiate a drift that goes to the right, to follow the road, of course. Now this is important. The smaller the drift you make, or the less of an angle you make on your drift, the more speed you're gonna preserve for the rest of the map. So this turn is really important. You want to do as small of a drift as possible. To do this, I go as far to the left as I possibly can. I initiate the drift, and when I realize I can now stop drifting and make the turn, I stop the drift and I drive as close, we can see this, as close to this corner as possible, as well as close to this wall as possible. I then just drive the rest of the map like it's supposed to be driven. You preserve so much speed from that drift that you're gonna get a lot of speed here. You just wanna make sure you don't fly out. Just follow the road tightly. Up here, I do a brake drift to make sure that I don't fly out. Watch out for those poles and just, casually drive into the finish. But I do want to preface just how important this drift is. This drift, the speed that you get from this drift, is the speed that you're going to use for the rest of the track. I know it kind of is self-explanatory, but since your engine is going to be shut off right here, that speed that you get right here is what determines how fast you go into the finish. And that can be like a big margin right there, okay? But that's pretty much all for map 6 here. Wanna go through it again? Let's look at it at full speed. Let's look at it at full speed here. We drive to the right in the beginning. We go close to the walls, low air time. Close to the walls, very tight turn here with a drift. We go from left to right with a drift, as small of a drift as possible. We preserve the speed, and then we just drive into the finish without crashing, of course. This should be more than enough to get you your author time. On to the next one. Let's go. Okay, now let's look at map 7. This ghost that we're analyzing has a time of 31.2, which is a second faster, more than a second faster than the other time of 32.4, so you have a bit of wiggle room when you watch this ghost and compare it again. Now, we're going to look at it at half speed, analyze it, and then look it back at full speed again. So, first things first, you just drive the map, just don't hit anything. Very easy, you go tight to this corner. Now, up here, I'm going to initiate a drift. I'm going to initiate this drift to get this line. I go really tight, and what I do is I make sure I don't hit the penalty grass. It's going to slow you down, but I go as tight as I can here, okay? Now, for this turn, what you want to do is you want to go as tight to that corner as possible, as so. And you want to make sure you don't lose your gear here. You're going to notice it if you do so, but just try to go as tight as possible and try not to turn too aggressively, because it's going to slow your car down. So you just tap your turn button, whether you're on a controller or a keyboard, just tap that turn button until you're through that checkpoint. Now that we're through that checkpoint, the rest of the map is pretty self-explanatory. I do a small drift there. You don't really have to. You can do a small release. It's all good. This drift is also very, it doesn't really matter. There's a lot of different lines that you can go for without it being too bad. The most important part is that you don't touch this this corner right here, because it's going to make your car bounce. Now, what you're able to do here is you're able to do a no slide up until this point where your car is going to start sliding. You can do speed sliding after this point, if that's what you choose to do. But at any rate, this should be more than enough to get you that author time. Make sure that you go inside line so you get this booster, and go as tight to the walls as possible. There's not a lot to say about this track. This is a pretty straightforward track, not much to say about it. Let's take a look at it again from a regular speed point of view. Okay? We drive regular. We do a drift up here. This is the most important drift. You want to go really tight to this corner. Just tap that turn button you have. Make sure you don't lose too much speed on that turn. Then you want to go tight here, either do a drift or release. Make sure you don't hit the corner of this turn, and basically just drive into the goal from there on. It's all good. Make sure you don't, on the dirt, make sure you don't, okay, let's look back at it here. Make sure you don't drift too aggressively here. If you drift too aggressively, you're going to lose too much speed, especially right here. That's why I'm going wide, is to preserve speed. But it should definitely be enough for you to get the author time. I don't think this is the map that you guys are having too much trouble with, so let's just jump right into the next one. And here we are on map 8. The ghost that we're analyzing has a time of 31.3, which is like 3 seconds ahead of the author time at 34.6. You will have a lot of wiggle room to play this map. This should not be too bad, but let's just take a look at the map in half speed, and I'll go through the things you can do while we're looking at it, okay? So here in the beginning, it's just straightforward. You just want to drive down towards the, just straight down. It's fine, okay? Here, the most important part here is you want to do a smooth steer. If you turn tightly, if you do a full steer, your car is going to slide out. So you want to do a smooth steer to make sure you don't slide out, and you maintain, close contact, not contact, but you maintain like a close position to the inner wall there. Here, you just want to go as tight as possible. I do a small release to make sure that I can do this turn without drifting. Look here. If you go wide enough, your car is not going to drift, okay? It's better if you don't drift here, because drifting is going to lose your time. But right here, you want to set up a drift. This drift is a little hard to get down, but after you do it a couple of times, you kind of get a feel for when you start the drift and how much you want to drift. Then you just want to take the drift, go pretty tight. You have a lot of wiggle room here. And just land smoothly into this bobsleigh. I've told you this multiple times. It's also in the tutorial. When you're on the bobsleigh tracks, this is a controller exclusive trick, but you want to smooth steer on the bobsleigh track, on the bobsleigh turns, and it's going to give you a little bit of more speed. Once we exit the bobsleigh tracks here, your wheels are going to be icy. Now, icy wheels once again mean that we're gonna smooth steer. So watch out for this turn as your car might slide out. But if it doesn't, and if you smooth steer correctly, you're gonna preserve your speed, you're gonna preserve your contact to the ground without sliding, and the rest of the map is pretty smooth. You just do a couple of turns. Right here, if you wanna get a little more speed, you wanna drive as straight as possible, okay? As straight as possible with a little bit of drifting. The straighter you drive there, the faster you're gonna be. That's the simple way to put it, okay? So let's take a look at the map again at full speed, or at regular speed, rather. Oh, whoops, let's do like that. Okay, so we go straight down towards the road here. We smooth steer, make sure we don't slide out. We don't do a drift here. We do contact with the ground, full contact. We do a drift here. You have a lot of wiggle room with this drift. Just make sure you drift. All good. Don't slide out here either. A couple of more turns, and you want to drive as straight on the ice as possible. Okay? That's pretty much it for map 08. I'm sure you guys can get it down. If there's anything else, put it in the comments if you want me to explain this further. Here we are on map 9, a long dirt track, and we're looking at my Ghost, which has a time of a 37.2, which is a little more than a couple of seconds faster than the author time with a 39.5. You guys have a lot of wiggle room to work with right there. Now, before we look at this Ghost, I do want to say that this is a full dirt track, which means that the more dirt knowledge you have, or the more comfortable you are with the dirt in the game, the easier this track is going to be for you. And I do recommend you guys watch the tutorial that I made to be more aware of the speed sliding that you can do, the SDs that you can do, and just the general dirt lines. But with that being said, there are a couple of places in this map where you can go for specific lines that are going to save you time, and we're going to look at that right now. So, taking a look at the map at half speed, the start is just the general start. There's nothing much to talk about. But the most important parts I'm going to point out, and one of those parts is right here. This checkpoint, you want to go as tight to the left side as possible. You can see I go very tight here. The reason I do that is to be able to do a speed drift down towards this 90s corner. Doing that speed drift is going to preserve you speed and make you hold the upper gear here. It's not essential, but it's going to give you more speed. It's going to save you time. The same goes here. I like to go for an inside line here. You don't have to, but I like to go for an inside line. And then again, as you can see here, I again speed drift. I speed drift by overlapping my tire marks. I've told you guys this, but I overlap my tire marks. I speed drift a little bit. I go close to the black wall here. And then this is one of the places, again, you want to go as tight as possible. The tighter you go here, the better. Because it's going to basically angle your car towards the next checkpoint, and it's going to preserve your speed. Now, on the way to the next checkpoint, again, I am speed drifting all this time. I'm speed sliding all the time here. That's also why you see my car wiggling. The same goes for here. After I land, you can see I am still trying to make sure that my car is drifting all the time. I do this to gain more and more speed. The last thing that you can do that's going to help you is at this very end. You can see I'm going very tight. I'm going for a jump that's going to barely push me away from the pedal to dirt here. I do this to go as tight as possible, as it's going to preserve your speed. Again, small slides, small wiggles all the way into the ending, and then you should have it. If you do these things, you're going to get this time easily, and you can beat this time pretty easily as well if you get comfortable with speed sliding, where you're going to be able to do so, as well as going for those lines that I just talked about. Now let's look at it all in regular speed. So we can see again, I go for a tight first turn here at the checkpoint. I'm speed sliding, holding the gear, going tight on this turn. A little more speed sliding right here, speed drifting. Going tight here again, and here once more. Maintaining speed. I keep wiggling my car to accelerate faster. And then for this jump, we go as tight as possible. And that's it. That's all you need to do to get the author time on this track. This seems like a hard track, but once you get it down, once you get these speed drifts down, once you get the lines down, you can drive times like these super consistently. So just get down and start grinding. I'm sure you guys are gonna get it. Next one. And finally, we have map 10, the final map of the video. Here, we're looking at my Ghost, which is a 37.0. That's more than 2.5 seconds faster than the author time of 39.7, so you have a lot of wiggle room. If you follow the general trends and lines that I'm doing, you should definitely be able to get it. But I do want to say that one of the biggest things in this map is actually a reactor boost. So I'm going to explain to you guys how to do that, and hopefully that's going to help you get that author time pretty easily. Now, if we look at the map at half speed like we've done so far, here in the beginning, there's not much to say. You just, don't want to touch anything. It's pretty easily straightforward. There's just straight up not much going on. Then we can actually go a little faster here. All right, so for this turn, you just want to go as tight as possible. Super easy. Not much to say there either. Now here, what I do here is I go decently tight, but what I also do is I release the gas a lot. You can hear it if you listen closely, but I release the gas a lot here, and I do this because I want to go as tight on this turn as possible. The only thing that's important when you do this trick is that you want to make sure you can see here on my gears. You want to make sure you don't gear down, okay? So don't go much below 200 speed. You don't want to gear down here, okay? I do this because now I'm set up for an angle where I can speed drift into the next checkpoint. This is going to increase my acceleration, and it's going to, save me time. Now here is the first reactor boost, and this is where the first reactor boost trick comes into play. Now, what I want you to do is right here, right when you're about to leave the platform, you're gonna press the brake button. You can see my lights are turning red as well as the wheel is turning red here. That means I've pressed the brake button. Don't keep pressing it. Just do a brake tap. Just hit the brake real fast, and it's gonna increase your acceleration tremendously. I then go super tight. You're gonna have to practice this a bit. The first couple of times you do this trick, it's gonna crash, and that's fine. But once you get it down, you can do this super consistently. It's not really that hard. I do it again right here. You can see I tap the brake again right here. Okay? And I just swoop towards the checkpoint. Now you can see I land with around 550 speed. If you do this, if you do these boost tricks very well, you can land with everywhere between like 550 speed to over 600 speed. Please make sure that, as I've said in the tutorial video, if you have more than 600 speed and you're driving on tarmac as we are right now, your car is going to start sliding by just turning, okay? So if you land with more than 600 speed, I do recommend that you just release your gas and get it below 600 speed and start turning. If you're an advanced player, you can just smooth steer, and it's gonna make sure you don't start drifting. But I do recommend trying to land with less than 500 speed if you just want or less than 600 speed if you just want the author medal. It's gonna be more than enough to get you the author medal. And I'm showing that by landing with 550 speed and still being multiple seconds ahead of the author medal. Okay, guys? Then you want to go tight here, and okay, what I meant is you want to go close to this corner. You want to go close to this corner and then go as wide on the grass as possible. The reason you want to go wide on the grass is because it's going to preserve your speed. And then you want to be just not clipping, but be very, very close to the left side of this checkpoint. Because then you're going to land smoothly, you're going to start accelerating fast, and you're going to be able to set yourself up for this turn. For this turn, you cut the grass. The grass is going to slow your car down. Well, that's actually a good thing because you would have to slow down yourself anyway. So it's going to slow your car down, and there's 3 different ways. You can go in between these trees. You can go in between these trees, or you can go to the very left, which I did here. Either way is going to be fine. Either way is going to be fine. If you did the first parts of the map well, either way is definitely going to be fine. Now, let's look at the map once again in full speed. Again, in the beginning, there's not a lot to say. Just dodge the things, drive as straight as possible, of course. That's pretty much it. For the first turn, we want to go as tight as possible once again. Here, I do small releases to make sure that I can go tight on the grass. I proceed to do a speed drift, and then I do the brake tricks. I do the reactor boost tricks to get as much speed as possible. I go up early, and then I go wide. I go as wide as possible to preserve speed. Then we cut the grass corner, and we just drive into the finish. That's all there is to it. I realized that the reactor boost part of this map is gonna be what is gonna set you off a lot. You're gonna crash a lot here, but you're gonna get it down. Take like half an hour to learn it. If you want, you can get it. If you get a good setup, this is what I recommend you do. If you get a good setup here at the start, you get this part well. You go into this checkpoint, and you crash the reactor boost trick. Just reset from the checkpoint and keep doing the reactor boost. Just keep practicing this part of the map. Just reset from the checkpoint, keep practicing this part of the map. Try it again. Oh, it didn't work. Try it again. Try it again until you get the boost tricks down. The boost tricks are pretty inconsistent in the beginning, but as I've said, you can get them very consistently once you get used to it. I also do this in matchmaking all the time. It is very consistent to do. You can do 37.0s, which is what I did here, consistently in matchmaking as well. So just practice it. I'm sure you're going to get it down. With all that being said, that's pretty much it for the video. We've gone through the next 5 tracks, and of course I'm going to do another video where we go through 11 to 15. I'm not going to say too much other than thanks for watching. And be sure to hit me up on Twitch to say hi, or if you have any questions, go in there and jump in and ask me anything. I'm always down to talk. Other than that, yeah, thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next one.